All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
What's going on, everyone? This is Real Talk. This is Fox Network. My name is Freddie Henry. Tonight, on with Mike. Mike, what's going on?
What's going on, Freddie? Freddie, I think your mic acting up, bro.
Oh, for real?
It's better now, yeah.
Oh, my bad. Then right below me, we got my dude, Chris. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, man. How y'all doing tonight?
Good, I'm good. And I don't know why this man came on this show with this jersey. I done told him week after week, do not wear this jersey. And he's continued to wear this jersey.
Why?
I don't know why. I mean, you didn't, you know what? Let me give it to you, Kenny. I'm sorry. I'm going to give you your respect. The Cowboys done won their Super Bowl. The Cowboys done won their Super Bowl. Congratulations.
That same narrative, man. You got to come up with some new material.
No, because you Cowboy fans act like it was a Super Bowl yesterday, so I'm going to treat it like it was.
If you beat the Chiefs tonight, you going to act like it was your Super Bowl.
Thank you.
No.
That's what we was talking about backstage.
Exactly. Right. Before we came on air, you was all, well, if we win tonight, it's going to feel like something to me.
I might be happy, but I'm not gonna act like no Cowboys fan. There is a difference.
No, don't nobody act like nothing. That's you making up stuff.
All right, gentlemen. Elena will be on in a few. She wants to get schooled. I'll school her as well, like I always school you guys. Nothing new. But let's continue. Let's move it on to some NFL hot takes. Kenny, give us a hot take.
Well, just kind of piggybacking off of last night. It's time for the Minnesota Vikings to move on from Kirk Cousins. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings right now, I'm calling the Houston Texans and asking them what it's going to take to get Deshaun Watson. Because to me, the Vikings are a quarterback away from being a contender. I know you don't want that to happen.
No, sir. Please, no.
As a Bears fan, you don't want that to happen. But I just think it's time for them to move on from Kirk Cousins. He's just not the guy that's going to lead you anywhere in terms of being a franchise. He's just not a franchise quarterback. He's just a guy. He's just a guy. He's just a guy that's going to just be solid, that's going to do just enough for you to be an average team. He's an average quarterback, and if he's your quarterback, you're going to be an average team. So enough is enough. So if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I'm making a deal. I don't care. You can have Kirk Cousins. I'll give you a first and a second round pick. And because just look at the weapons that he has, man. Dalvin Cook, Thielen, and
Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Like, he's got some real weapons that if they had it with a great quarterback, that offense would be scary with a great quarterback. So that's my hot take. Enough is enough. I've seen enough of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. It's time for him to go.
We'd like to welcome Elena to the show. What's going on, Elena?
What's going on, fellas? Sorry I was late, but I'm glad to be back to work, back to business.
Yeah, I know. I'm just glad that you're able to come on here so I can educate you a little bit more.
Oh my God.
That's what I do.
Woo! Here we go.
Starting early with the Freddie facts.
You're starting early. Freddie Delusional's back, baby, in full swing.
Hey, Chris, give us a hot take, bro.
Well, I'm not that impressed with the Rams picking up Von Miller. I think it's very much not worth a second and third round pick at this point. He's kind of gearing down towards the end of his career. I'm not going to say he's washed up by any means, but to give up a second and third for a guy that, I'm sorry, but he hasn't produced like he did in the first 4 years.
Right.
I don't think that's a smart move for them, especially at 7-1. They're not a bad team. They're a good team. These moves they're making 3 and 4 trades. 4 and 4, not 7-1.
It's a Madden trade. It's a Madden.
Yeah. So I'm not impressed. I think that was a bad move on their part to add possibly some negative chemistry to a pretty good team. That's my hot take. We'll see what happens.
Let me ask you a question, though. Do you think that Von Miller would be reinvigorated playing next to Aaron Donald?
Without a doubt.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But they already have so much talent on that defense. I don't think it improves them that much. I mean, to give up a second and third for maybe a half a sack difference doesn't seem parallel to me.
All right, I'm gonna give my hot take. I'm gonna stick with the trade deadline as well. But whoever make the best move on this trade deadline, to me, is going to win the championship. We're going to win a Super Bowl. We're going to see how hungry these teams really want to win. We're going to see what will the teams willing to give up. You believe the Rams gave up too much for Von Miller, and maybe they come in the mindset, well, hey, we have a legit chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. We want to increase our defense and want to make it more stout. I would not be surprised if any other teams make some crazy trades that we do not expect at all come tomorrow, because there's a few teams out there that have Super Bowl aspirations, aka not the Dallas Cowboys. Mike, give us a hot take.
Oh wow!
Always got to be disrespectful.
I'm hanging in with the trade deadline. I will make an observation before I give my hot take, is that the Chicago Bears offense looked 10 times better with Matt Nagy not being there, and that might be the first time I've ever seen a team be better without a head coach. But it's definitely something I took and I looked at it as that. But my hot take, I'm sticking with Chris on it. It has something to do with that trade with the Von Miller stuff, and we're going to get into it. But I think for Denver, I don't think they end up using any of those picks. I think Denver ends up with Deshaun Watson, whether it be this summer or whether it be tomorrow morning. I definitely think getting those picks was a big part of why they want to get them, because they understand they don't have a quarterback to give like other teams do. You really don't have a guy like Heineke or a guy like Fitzpatrick to give. You really just have Teddy B. And you don't know how much they want Teddy B, because right now Houston's in a place where they don't want to win games. So you really have to look at it like that. And I definitely think that first, second, and third all goes to Deshaun Watson. But I will say the Rams, to me, they better win a Super Bowl, because you don't have a first, second, third, or fourth going into this year's draft. So you better pray you bank on it, because, I mean, that'll make or break your offseason. Because you're in cap hell, really.
All right, Elena, give us a hot take.
I don't know if mine is necessarily a hot take, but I think it's more so what I think should happen. And I think the Browns have to cut ties with Odell Beckham Jr. It's to the point where now they don't know how to properly utilize him. They don't know what kind of systematic as far as like offense to put him in to where he could be effective. They're not Baker and him. They don't have a connection for whatever reason. They can't get on the same page. And it's a waste of Odell's prime if he continues to stay in Cleveland. Like, if you know what I'm saying, if he really wants to be an elite receiver, he has to get out of Cleveland, because Cleveland's not the place for that. So, like I said, it's not really necessarily a hot take. It's just more so of something that should happen.
Hey, Green Bay better call Cleveland. Hey, can I put my hands on
somebody need to call him?
Hey, Freddie.
Yes, they do suck, but Mr. Rogers don't. I tell you that though much. But let's keep it moving, gentlemen. Last week, and I just thought this was very interesting, because I don't think Mike Tomlin get the respect that he deserved. And clearly, he's not getting the respect through the media that he deserved. One of his media conferences last week, one of the reporters kind of mentioned, there's a job open in the college ranks. I believe it's USC. And, basically kind of say, hey, would you be interested in, coaching that college team? And, he turned it down 1,000%. in any way. Like like he made it where it was it wasn't even a thought that came to mind. Because he's coaching the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers. Why would he even think about something like that? But Kenny, what's your thoughts on that? What's your take on that?
I just think he was totally justified in what he was saying, because it was just really disrespectful to even have to ask him that question. Like, this man is coaching at the highest level for one of the most historic franchises of all time. Why would he even think about going to that's a step down? Why would he even think about that? Why would that even be a consideration? It just makes no sense. And I understand, things are being reported or things are being speculated, but it's just some things it's just not necessary to be asked, because it's just a dumb question at the end of the day to me. Like, there's no way that this guy would ever even think about taking that job. So to ask him that question is just dumb, and it's just disrespectful. And like he said, he nailed it. Do you ask Sean Payton that question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ask a Bill Belichick that question? No, you do not. Like, this guy's resume, he's built enough of a resume and has had enough success during his time in Pittsburgh where he shouldn't even be asked these type of questions. So I think he's totally justified in how he reacted, and I'm glad he said what he said.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because like you said, Kenny, you're not asking a Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, and this is a man.
Absolutely not.
This is a man who have not had a losing season since he's been
14
coaching.
years.
Yeah, and for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And why would he? Let's say if he left the Steelers, why would he go to college? There's going to be many teams knocking on this man's door the next day, probably the
Exactly.
same day. Can you come coach our team?
Bears
Because
are there. Bears are there. Believe
yeah,
that.
because he is this man is a Super Bowl champion coach. At the end of the day, he's going in the Hall of Fame for being a coach. This man is one of the most disciplined coaches there is in the NFL. When everybody talk about Bill Belichick, which they should, they should, because he deserves his credit. But I believe Mike Tomlin is right after him. When you talk about great minded coach, disciplined, don't put up with a lot of stuff. But so that's just my thoughts. Elena, what's your reaction to it?
I think it's one of those things, unfortunately, where honestly, it's in most major sports when it comes to black coaches and black men coaches in specific, is that their job is they don't really ever have a job safety. Like, there's no security ever, really. Like, they're always fighting for their job. There's always questions about their jobs. There's always a slight. There's always they're always at a disadvantage no matter how successful they are. So I feel like Mike Tomlin had every right to react the way that he did. And like Kenny was saying, like, he's never had a losing season in the 14 years that he's been at the Steelers. And like, if you think of dream jobs when it comes to NFL franchises, you think of the Steelers, the Cowboys, places like that you can really hone in and make yourself a Hall of Fame resume if you are successful, which Mike Tomlin has been. So it's like, why would he even consider college? Because like you said, it's a step down. You got a bunch of spoiled kids that you got to coach instead of, what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. So I just think it's one of those things. And, I hate to get like too deep into it, but it's just one of those things where it's just politics and sports per usual. It's just another black man being in a position where he has to, unfortunately, defend his position and defend his job, but you shouldn't have to. If you look at stats wise, you stack his resume against other coaches' resumes, you should question those other coaches before you question Mike Tomlin. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how I thought about it. And I love the way he responded. I love that he didn't sugarcoat how he felt, and that he, named names. It was like, look, if y'all want to do this, we can go tit for tat, and let me know who should be in college and who should be in a professional coach. If that's what we doing. So you know what I'm saying? But Mike Tomlin definitely there's no need for Mike Tomlin to go to college. That would be silly. He's not Nick Saban. He can coach in the NFL.
All right, Chris.
I'm not gonna dive into whether he should or shouldn't. I mean, he's an excellent coach. I will just compare it to Florida and LSU, because in college, those fan bases and those boosters, they set the bar extremely high. And the Steelers are no different. I mean, they had Bill Cowher for a long time, and before that, they had Nolan. They've had coaches that have pushed out NFL titles. And Mike Tomlin's no different. He's had his Super Bowl run. it's not that they're a bad team now. It's not that he should even be considered for a college job. It's just the pressure from the fan base seeing that they're struggling at this time. And it's the same thing with Florida and LSU. I mean, LSU, they go through coaches like crazy because they have this expectation that's not real that they should win a title every 2 or 3 years.
Every time, yeah.
Florida,
Yeah.
I mean, Florida has this expectation that they should have a Heisman and a national title every 2 to 3 years, and that's you're not Saban, you're not Alabama. Nobody has that expectation. Same thing with the Steelers. Tomlin's done way above the job that anybody thought coming in that he'd have early on, especially. And so for anybody to try to tell him where he should coach now, or even guess that he should be up for a college job, why not another NFL job? Why isn't that even a discussion? Why college, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, Ricky. All right, Mike, give us your reaction to it.
It's bullshit. I mean, like, bro, I'm white. And when you're a white man and you hear things like this, you think, like we've seen a couple comments already throughout the feed. Well, there were many people that have been rumored in this conversation, but it's different. It's different for the black community, and it's different for Mike Tomlin because it's not viewed that way. And if you want to get a little bit of education through what it's like going through those type of experiences, Freddie and I were talking about it earlier. You definitely should check out the Colin Kaepernick documentary that came out. It gives you that insight of how white and other races and ethnicities, not just white people, but the Hispanic community, the Asian community, they also, don't always go through the exact same things that the African American community goes through. And you might not see it, whether you're ignorant to it or whether you just don't know because you don't have that in your upbringing. But even being in Chicago, like when you're on a team, you get a lot of different guys. You get your gangbangers, you get your suburban kids, you get your normal kids, you get the, kids that have nothing to do with anything and just play the game to play the game. Mike Tomlin is the perfect coach for any scenario. Not only did you have 14 straight winning seasons, but you did it with a guy who had your QB1 had rape allegations. Antonio Brown became a nutcase. Le'Veon Bell sat out a season, who was your starting running back, and you still dealt with all that. Now, look what happened with Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins in Washington was a huge problem. And you haven't heard one thing about Dwayne Haskins all season because I feel like he's with Mike Tomlin, and you don't have those issues with Mike Tomlin. The only problem is Juju on his phone, and that got nipped right after it happened. Juju never went on his phone again during practice or anything like that. He's after the game, sure. But you don't see him doing the stuff he was pulling the year before or anything like that. So for me, it's definitely a disrespectful thing towards Mike Tomlin. I mean, we're talking about the first losing season. You wouldn't, like you guys said, you wouldn't hear that from Bill. You wouldn't hear that from others, or about Bill, I should say, not from Bill. But you would definitely hear that response from Bill, though. And Bill would give it to you straight the same way Mike did, and I was happy for him. Mike Tomlin's my favorite coach in the NFL. I truly do feel that way. I like Sean McVay a lot too, but Mike Tomlin, there's not a lot of cute stuff with Mike Tomlin. Like his game and his game planning is just so hard knocks type, and just so old school but new school at the same time. Whereas Sean McVay, sometimes it's a little too cute, but I definitely do agree with Mike Tomlin that no one else would be getting asked this if it wasn't him. Literally just went 11-0 the season before, so I don't know why we're putting much stock into why he would want to leave in the first place.
Hey Tony, what's up, Tony? Everybody's welcome Tony to the show. What's going on, Tony?
Tony,
how's it going on? I see Mike with the clean shaven face. My boy Kenny with the Cowboys gear. We got our man Chris.
Hey Tony, I got something for you, bro. Tony. I got something for you, Tony. I know you like it.
I love it. I love the hat.
I told Kenny we're going to ban him off this show. He wear that Cowboy jersey.
Never banning me from
nothing. Why you got to ban Kenny for something like that?
Yeah, don't ban Kenny. Kenny ain't doing nothing to nobody.
Hey, Freddie,
he doing something.
Freddie, I've been a part of this network for almost a year now, and I have not seen one Giants jersey or shirt from you.
Thank you.
I don't know how loyal you really are.
Thank you.
You know what? You want to see one Thursday, Mike?
Let
them win. I wear. Let them win.
I bet you that man doesn't have a stitch of Giants gear in his closet. I bet you.
Yeah, I do agree with Ray right here, though. Mike Tomlin, just the way he treats his players, is just such an amazing guy. And Ricky even makes a point that AB and Bell tried to sabotage the team in a sense. More AB than Bell. Bell did it for financial reasons, and that I can somewhat get behind. AB was just doing crackhead activities. I call them cracktivities, but activities all around the board. But and then dealing with the Big Ben stuff. Big Ben's beefing with AB. Like Mike, even with that, had a winning season, and I think you definitely see stuff like that. You don't see it a lot. The Bears, if this happened with the Bears, I mean, we couldn't even handle Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall having an argument. You know what I mean? So you definitely do need to give Mike Tomlin the credit he deserves.
Hey, before I let Tony go, we got a lot of people in the comments. Got a lot of people watching. The viewer of the month for October was Anthony Price. Shout out.
Yo.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, bro.
Yep.
Shout out to him. My mic is tripping. Shout out to Anthony. Congratulations to him. To all our viewers out there. Hey, November, today starts a new day. If you want to become a viewer of the month, get your very own free t-shirt. Hey, comment, like, share, follow us. Interact with us all month to get your very own free ASAP Network t-shirt. You do not want to miss out.
Anthony,
one of those.
He's here today. There he is.
Yes, sir. All right, Tony, give us your thoughts on the Mike Tomlin situation. With that comment, asking him that he want to go, about if he's interested in going to the college ranks.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, how many NFL head coaches have you ever seen that have had success in the NFL and had as long as tenured success as Mike Tomlin has, and then just said, you know what, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna go to USC. Like what really are you gaining by that point? Like college coaches usually build themselves up to come into the NFL. It's very rare you ever see an NFL coach that has established himself the way that Tom has, and then go back to college and then come back. Now we saw it with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll struggled when he was, in charge of the Patriots. He went back to college, kind of refound himself, reestablished himself, and he made his way back in the NFL. Tomlin's already done that. He's been the head coach of the Steelers for over 20 years, and he's never had a losing season. I think maybe this season might, but even then, if the Steelers don't have a losing season this year, even if he gets them to 9-8, with basically a completely done and way over needed to be retired Ben Roethlisberger, without his top wide receivers, with a defense that is good, but an offense that is just boring and stagnant. If he gets them to 9-8, why would Mike Tomlin want to leave to go to USC? He has built that team, to succeed every single year. Now they may not necessarily always be playoff contenders. They may not always be the guy that we're going to see, in the Super Bowl, but they're always going to be that team that you have to take seriously and you can't just write off, because any game Pittsburgh is going to bring it either defensively or offensively, one of the two.
Yep. We got some breaking news, not nothing sports related, but from the ASAP Network. Gentlemen, Elena, to all our viewers, about a month ago, we had about 50 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know if anybody was checked. As of today, we're at 191 subscribers on YouTube. You can go subscribe to us on YouTube, help us build that up over there. Continue. Great work to all the analysts for pushing it and working and bringing out great content. We'll continue to strive for greatness.
And the TikTok is booming. We're back in action. I got a little busy with school, but it's going to be busting this week. We're going to crack it.
There you go. Let's move to what I love. The top 5 teams headed into week 9. This list has probably changed since last week, since we did it last Monday, because we had Tampa lose. We had the Cardinals lose. I mean, there's I'm going to go ahead and give my list. Number 1, you got to have them. You have to be there. They beat the undefeated team on a Thursday night football. You have to have Green Bay at number 1. I mean, they beat the Arizona Cardinals.
Don't pick your team.
My team's playing right now. I don't only have one team. The Green Bay Packers. They beat them with great fashion. They beat them without their top 3 receivers
and without Aaron Rodgers, right?
with Aaron Rodgers, made great
was
plays.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, so
That
we're
was
not going to be
love.
disrespectful. No, number 2, you still have to have the Cardinals there at number 2. That was the first loss of the season. You got to be, give them the respect. Number 3, I have the Cowboys number 3. As much as I hate to do it,
Oh boy.
Don't we know it?
but but you gotta be respectful. They are 6-1. They did find a way to win without their starting quarterback. They still found a way to make plays on the defensive end on last night, coming off a bye week. So you definitely got to give them their much love and their much credit as well. The number 4, I actually have the Bills. Josh Allen is just having an amazing season so far. He's carrying this team. They're 5-2 in the division, they're top in the division. So kudos to them. I do not have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on my top 5. I'm sorry, especially the way the job that Tom Brady did on yesterday, throwing those interceptions. And I understand he's dealing with injuries, but hey, it is what it is. I have the Baltimore Ravens finishing out my top 5. I believe they've been kind of quiet. Nobody's really been talking about them. But yeah, it's my top 5. Whoever want to roll with theirs, they can roll with it.
I want to go next because Freddie, you forgot one team, and really I'm surprised you even put Dallas in there because you forgot this team. The team I'm gonna put number 1, the Los Angeles Rams.
I forgot they forgot the Rams. I sure did, but they wouldn't be number 1 for me though. I promise you that.
They'd at least be in the top 5 though.
I say, be realistic. Like even as a Cowboys hater, would you really have Dallas over the Rams?
No, I would have put the Cowboys number 4 and switching with the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
I totally forgot about. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Well, I got the Rams as number 1. They're still rolling. They got beat by one of the better teams in the NFC as far as the Cardinals go. Now, no team has that pressure as far as having to go undefeated season. Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford is just as strong as it's ever going to be. They even get better on defense with Von Miller. So now you have Von Miller and Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball if you're an offense, which that's not even really fair.
It's not fair, yeah.
That's like you just build your team off Madden type game. Like that's not even fair.
Before you got here,
right? It is. It's like you just switch Von Miller to a quarterback. You trade him for like a 7th round pick, and you're like, oh, now I got Von Miller on my team. So I got the Rams at 1. I'm gonna put the Cardinals still at 2nd. I think with the exception of
disrespect.
Yeah. Will you hold on a second?
What are you talking about? It's 2.
Like
you just put them in the same spot.
Yes, they lost to Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. But the Cardinals are still the team to beat. Like they're the only team that has beat the Rams, and the Rams are considered probably the favorite team to win the Super Bowl right now. If you really look at all sides of the ball and as a collective whole, I would pick the Rams to win right now. So I put the Cardinals at 2 just for that. At 3, it's gonna hurt to say because God, I don't want to say it. I'm gonna have to put the Packers, and I only say it because of Aaron Rodgers. I don't trust that defense. I do not trust that defense in the absolute slightest. That defense is always going to be an issue until they spend like all of their money on the defensive side. But I will say, because I'm going to discredit Freddie a little bit, that shows you that Aaron Rodgers can do it with no help and no defense. So when it comes for the playoffs and he chokes in the NFC Championship, I want to hear nothing about Rodgers has no help.
Talk, Tony.
I want to hear it because he did it just then. I want to hear
Atlanta, he don't need no choir.
Listen, talk, Tony. Talk, Tony. Tony's my guy. Tony know what it is.
He ain't lying.
Oh yeah. We got some breaking news coming out. I'll let Tony finish his list first, though.
At four, I got the Bills because the Bills are solid offensively. They're solid defensively. And then number 5, as much as I want to put Dallas, I'm still gonna have to go with Tampa Bay. Yes, Freddie, I know. Look.
I don't know about over Dallas though, bro. I hate defending the Cowboys. Y'all 6-1. Your defense looked good yesterday. Your running game.
Now, let me ask you, though, how much of that was Dallas being good, or how much of that was just Minnesota being poorly coached and not capitalizing on the opportunity that they had?
I'm not about to sit up and defend the Cowboys, but at the end of the day, you had a backup quarterback that I know a lot of Cowboy fans that did not go into yesterday's game expecting to win when they found out Cooper Rush was the starting quarterback.
I didn't either.
He played good though. I mean, he had like 300 something yards. I mean, the dude balled out. So how can you? He played better than Tom Brady yesterday, bro. Stop.
No, because Freddie, think about it. If you look at the Minnesota Vikings, who do they have at wide receiver? They have Adam Thielen and you have Justin Jefferson. Those are we could argue two of the top 20 wide receivers in the league.
And they got Dede too from
Dede Westbrook.
Yeah, he ain't great, but as a third option, Dede's solid.
Yeah.
And then you have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is easily a top 5, top 10 running back in the league.
And that what makes it better for y'all, because y'all even with all those weapons.
That's what makes it worse.
That's what makes it worse. Is because Minnesota didn't capitalize with that. You have one of the best runners in the league. Dallas's run defense isn't bad, but it's not great either. Why didn't you run it? You had Adam Thielen. Did you watch the first drive of the game? 4 plays, 75 yards, and a touchdown. I was like, that's going to be the game all night. They're going to shred that defense like no problem, and they didn't take advantage of it.
But you give no credit to your defense that stopped a lot of that stuff, that made adjustments along the way, and.
So I don't, only because it's Kirk Cousins and it's a primetime game. Kirk Cousins is terrible in primetime games. Just being honest.
No.
I mean, hey, I'm trying to come on here and give y'all. I'm trying to come give y'all some credit.
Hot take, Tony. Go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I love Dallas. I'm happy they got the win. Don't get me wrong. Yes, defensively, did they play a great game? Yes. And did Dallas do enough, even though they continued to shoot themselves in the foot, to overcome Minnesota potentially winning? Yes. But I give it 50-50. I give it 50% Minnesota just being poorly coached and making bad mistakes, and 50% Dallas actually winning as a collective whole.
Just because I'm interested with this breaking news is, I want Mike to go first. Mike, do you deserve the big stream? Does this need the big stream?
Man, first of all, let's talk about it real quick. Got to switch. Man, them boys not only had 7 threes in the first quarter, but we're currently shitting on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Just a few minutes left of the fourth. Bulls could end up being 6-1. It's a little bit of breaking news. I felt like it was good enough to talk about, because now Boston's a real team, right, Freddie? Boston's
it's 106-105. It's 106-105.
And we're vibing. But
man, I thought you had some real breaking news.
You gotta relax, Mike.
If we talking about my list, I got the Rams at 1. I got the Rams at 1 because I did disagree with Chris on the fact that I think Von Miller brings a lot more than he could potentially take away. I don't think Von Miller is one of those guys that messes up the chemistry of a team. I think that, if anything, solidifies that team is deep. And even if he's not in that prominent role that he was with the Broncos as that number 1 guy, he definitely is going to be able to get looks. You got Leonard Floyd on your other side. You got Aaron Donald in the middle, Ramsey, and all these other cats out there. I mean, it's just going to make the job for him a lot easier. The question is, at the end of the day, not only can Stafford stay healthy, but can Von Miller stay healthy? And that's what I really look at it, because you can't have that guy go down, especially with those draft capitals. So, but I have the Rams at 1. Cooper Kupp is the first wide receiver in the modern day era to have over 900 yards before midseason break even goes. Like, this guy is a stud right now. He's definitely, taking it up to that second gear that we all know he could have done. My biggest thing right now with him is, we're talking about 133 yard receptions a game, pretty much. If you look it up and you see, like, if you add it all up, that's the average. He's doing crazy stuff right now. He has 10 touchdowns, over 900 yards. He's balling out. And I definitely think, even with that running game not being the greatest, Henderson looked great the other day. So you got to have the Rams at 1. At 2, where's my list? I gotta find it. It was a very hard list to make. I do agree. No, I can't put Green Bay. Number 2, I have the Cardinals. Obviously, you lose 1 game, so I definitely, and honestly, you should have won that game. So I still have to have them at number 2. AJ Green definitely sold the bag, but it happens. Number 3 was interesting because I think it's concerning, but because they're the defending champs, you have to have Tampa Bay there because you know what they can do when they're at full strength. Freddie's making that face, but I mean, at the end of the day, what are you going to say? They brought back every single guy. There's no difference. The one concern to me is the fact that, if we're talking about longevity, I think that Chris Godwin will be a free agent officially at the end of the year. And Mike Evans and Tom Brady just don't connect, bro. Like, they don't have that vibe. I get you have Antonio Brown, but as a number 3 option, Antonio works. But, if Chris Godwin leaves, Mike Evans and Tom Brady got to figure that out, because every other week it's so inconsistent with how that is. And Gronk is still out. But you have to have the defending champs there because they've been playing great.
Gronk came back yesterday.
Yeah, but he had back spasms, so he didn't play.
Yeah.
Right. So like you get back from a rib injury and now you have back spasms. So it's definitely something you need to, be careful with. Their secondary still isn't in, so they have a lot of pieces that they're going to add. So I have to keep them at 3. At 4, you got to have Green Bay. I hate to say it, you got to have Green Bay at 4.
Exactly. Well, thank you. You brought it on.
It's not even close. And I'll tell you why it's not close. First of all, I respect Green Bay, and I'm not going to shit on Green Bay this entire segment, but it's something where Aaron Rodgers hasn't been playing at that MVP level that we know he can. And the fact of the matter is this defense, to Freddie's point, he says it every week, isn't good. You know what I mean? Like Douglas, out of all people. It's not Alexander. It's not their first-round pick this year. It was none of them. It was some random guy that got a nice break. It was a great play, and he won them the game. But prior to that, they were going to lose that game. They almost get beat by Chicago. They almost get beat by the Bengals. They almost get beat by a ton of crappy teams. Freddie, I have to put them at 4 because
you're so disrespectful, Mike. You really are, bro. You don't let your Bears love. You let your Bears love get in the way, bro.
Aaron Rodgers has thrown over 250 yards once this season.
So what? They're winning. What does it matter?
They should have lost.
So when I said this about the Cowboys, it was no such thing as luck. See, this is how I know y'all.
Nobody said nothing about luck. You didn't say nobody said nothing about luck when it came to the Cowboys. You was down in the competition. We were saying you beat the teams.
So how are we going to do this about? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do about? How are we going to do this about a team that is 7-1, just beat the undefeated Cardinals, who had no business in that game? Like, where does this come from, bro? Like,
Freddie, answer my question then. Answer my question right now. Do the Pack and be real with me, because it's a 2-part question. It's going to be real quick. Do the Packers have a better defense than the Rams, Cardinals, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, they don't.
No, they don't. No, they don't. But wait, Freddie, has Aaron Rodgers so far this year, not last year in the MVP season, so far this year, played better than Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, or Tom Brady?
By numbers, no, he has not. But Mike, we're not going. Listen, Mike. No, you let me answer it. I got to ask a question for you. This question is not about who had the better season by stats. Who's having a better season by wins? Who's moving up? They're finding ways to win as a team overall. It's not about who has the better stats, who has the better defense, because they're still finding ways to win, even though they have those issues. Right. So, but we're talking about a Tampa Bay team who have 2 losses, who have one embarrassing loss by the Rams, and who came in there and stunk it up against the Saints when Winston went down. Okay, and you still have them top 3.
You had the best record in the Western Conference and Eastern Conference last year, and who was in the finals?
That's last year. We're talking about this year.
Your wins don't matter. It matters about at the end of the day, if you're looking at the top team, it's who that top team is. It doesn't matter if all your records are the same and all.
No, it goes week by week, bro. Like
they've done nothing to prove to me that they're better than those 3 teams. They got
so them going in there, beating the Cardinals team that have aspirations to win the championship, who's better offensively and defensively, is not impressive at all.
It's impressive. That's why I have you at 4. Last week I didn't have you in top 5 at all.
This is funny. The Green Bay Aaron Rodgers.
See, Kenny, I put him on my list.
Hey, you're in the top 5. You act like you ain't even put him in the top 5, man.
Right. But to have my problem is the Cardinals not my problem. My problem is to have the Brady and Tampa Bay so high still on your list when they have lost 2 games and when the teams they're losing to.
How did they look last year? But what happens at the end of the day?
See, you're going by off last year. It's not about last year. It's about this year.
Matter. This team gets it done.
Okay, Freddie.
I got the Ravens. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Tony.
Freddie, then I have to ask you, if Green Bay and Tampa Bay was to go up right now, 7-1, 6-2, if the season was to end right now, who would you take? Would you take Tom and the Bucks, or would you take Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers?
Me being honest, not biased, I'll take Green Bay because right now they're playing better football than the Bucks is right now. We're going off right now, but maybe in a few weeks when they're more healthier, then I'll go with Tampa Bay. But right now, the team's not healthy and they're not performing up to expectations.
Now, here's my question,
Yeah,
though.
We're talking about
game
health.
last week.
You would take
We're
Aaron
talking
Rodgers
about-
and Aaron Jones because, I mean, Devontae's not healthy. Lazard's not healthy. Your tight end just tore his ACL. So you're
No.
taking them against Gronk, Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike
That's
Evans, and
just
Antonio
stand.
Brown. And Leonard
What-
Fournette.
This is Freddie
What-
being an Aaron
No,
Rodgers stand.
no, it's
Can't
not,
be
Kenny.
objective.
Kenny, no, it's not. When you talk about top five, it go week by week. It's not about
And last
what-
week you were
it's-
like 10, and
it's-
this week I put you at 4.
So again,
what do you want me to
in the
do?
top five, it's just being moved around. It's not like they're not in the top five. It's not being.
It's not about that. It's not about Green Bay.
Team in the NFL. That makes no
It's not
sense.
It's not about Green Bay, Coach. Zach, I'm talking about Tampa.
Zach, you know this. Bro.
I'm talking about
You know this,
Tampa
Zach.
Bay.
Oh,
How do you
we
still
know
have
that, Zach? That's already been established, Zach. We already
Coach?
know that.
But Kenny, why do you top 3 for Tampa when they done lost 2 games and they have that you can't do that.
Okay, but Freddie, look at who they lost to, though. Like, they lost to the Saints, who also beat the Packers.
They're in the top five at the end of the day.
When did they beat the
it's no
Packers?
disrespect if they're in the top five.
Week 1.
Tampa Bay have not played the Packers. What are you talking about?
No.
What are you talking
I
about?
said
You're talking
the
about the
Saints.
Saints.
I said the Saints beat both of them.
I understand
And
it,
that's
but
a
what about the
divisional-
Rams? What about the
Go ahead,
Rams?
Elena, jump in.
What about
So does
the
that mean
Rams?
you're gonna knock the
They're
Rams?
number 1, bro. Damn.
Anyway, somebody else needs to go. Bus driver, take Freddie to school. Freddie needs to go to school.
You're on mute.
Just because of you, bro, before she goes, I'm putting Cowboys at 5. Forget Lamar. Like, there you go.
I mean, there's no objectivity to that list. I'm sorry, it's just not.
It's top five. How is there no objectivity? If they were out of the top five, then you could say that. But he put him in the top five. Stop.
If you
It's
weren't
too
in top-
high, Kenny.
If you weren't in top 5 last week, you think I'm gonna put you at number 1 after one game?
Get carried away.
It's not about that. Tampa Bay is way too high.
What are we talking about?
Wow.
We had a top 5 list.
Listen to me, bro. Listen to my top 5 and tell me where I'm wrong.
Top 5 in what though? Will we
In
take top
just-
5
in
overall?
As
in
an
the league?
overall,
top five.
as an
Of-
overall football team after 8 weeks.
No.
After
Okay,
8
going to week 9. Who's
going
the top
into
5
week
teams?
9, as an overall team, I'm looking at it right now. Rams at number 1, especially after acquiring Von Miller. That's nuts.
Facts.
I got them at 1. At 2, I got the Cardinals. Everybody loses a game. It happens. Kyler's banged up. JJ's out for the season. It happens. But you still got to account for what they've done. They played a great game. 3. Who did I put at 3, Freddie?
You put Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The defending champs who have still played better ball in the last 2 years than this next team at 4.
You
who
see,
won-
you going by the
I'm
previous
not-
years
I'm
where
not
you can't
talking to
do
you,
that.
Freddie. Now listen. Every
Let the
single
man
one of those
finish.
players has a ring, yes or no?
It's not about that, Mike. It's about
the man
this
finish.
year
Let the
right
man
now.
finish.
Their
Let the
overall
man
team.
finish.
They have better chemistry. They've done it before. They know what they're doing. Number 4, I got the Green Bay Packers. They weren't on my list last week. They got a great dub. I'll give them that. You enter number 4. And number 5, I think you can make that argument between the Cowboys and the Ravens or the Bills. It's definitely a conversation. But Freddie's upset with me because I don't have Green Bay at number 2.
No, that's not my problem, Mike. My problem is you have Tampa Bay
Tampa
on the
Bay
list
over
so
Green
high.
Bay.
Now, wait.
And-
Spotlight. Here's
and-
my-
and-
here's
One
my
spot
spotlight.
over Green Bay.
Kenny, I'm going to ask him right now. Spotlight, I want to ask you the same question. I'm
Okay.
looking at 1 through 3. You answer to me in your honest opinion. Has Aaron Rodgers played better than Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, or Tom Brady based on these 8 weeks?
No, he has not.
Now, answer me this. Has Green Bay's defense been better than the Rams, Cardinals, or Bucks defense?
So has who's Green Bay's
Has
defense?
Green Bay's defense.
Green
been
Bay's
better
defense
than-
is atrocious, bro. They garbage.
So how can I have
But
them?
that's not
ahead
the
of any
question.
of
Y'all not answering the doggone question.
What is
We're
the
talking
question?
about a team overall.
Right.
Team overall.
If we're talking about a team overall, Tampa Bay is number 3. Team overall. If you want to do that.
So Sunday don't count.
Can the rest of us give our list now?
Sunday's one.
You already been shot down. Can the rest of us give our list now?
I'm just trying to figure out why Tampa Bay. What's wrong with Tampa Bay being number 3? I'm not understanding that.
Because
did you see where they lost? They lost 2 games.
He's an Aaron Rodgers fan.
I understand they lost 2 games, but those 2 games was lost to good quality football teams.
Oh, the Saints good quality. Okay.
But at the same time, But at the same time, Tampa Bay was in those games. Tampa Bay was in those games. I mean, I understand if it was some bum behind teams that they got blown out, but they were that was a good New Orleans Saints football team. They really did.
Thank you.
Right.
Elena, go, please.
Right. Have her go because
your mic's muted.
Elena, you muted or something.
You're still on mute.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Elena.
Yep.
I mean, you lose to Trevor Siemian. That don't count against you. I mean, I just don't get it.
But do you think the Buccaneers was coming in expecting Trevor Siemian to play? No.
But guess what? You still got to play who you got to play against.
Hear you, Elena.
Okay. Well, Freddie, it's just mind blowing to me how last week you were Freddie Bayless. Now you sound like Freddie Sharp because. It's just mind blowing because honestly and truly, like if we're doing top 5 lists, it's gotta be. My personal list is gonna be the Rams at number 1.
Talk to
them. That's just a given. Like they lost to a really good Cardinals team, and they've been in some dogfights and they've proven themselves to be a worthy opponent. Mm-hmm. So I gotta have them at number 1. Arizona's still number 2. They lost to Aaron Rodgers. They didn't lose. I mean, we all know what happened in that.
We all know what did happen in that game. AJ Green did not turn around. It was an ill-advised
Thank you.
A win is a win. A win is a win. It don't matter how you win.
We all know what happened in that game. So the point
Cardinals, they were down 24.
Exactly.
24-14, and they came back and made that game look good.
Exactly, and
they should never been down in that game.
No, but it happens sometimes, and again, it's one of those things as far as with the Rams. It's one of those things as far as
and he y'all always move it.
Listen, it's one of those things as far as like the same thing I said with the Rams. Like they've been in dogfights and they've proven themselves. Like I said, that Green Bay game didn't go their way, but I mean they were a play away from winning that game. So you got to have them at number 2. Tampa Bay is number 3. As long as they have Tom Brady, they're gonna be in the top 5. Period. Like that's just what it is. Tom Brady didn't have a great game yesterday, but he's still Tom Brady. Like let's not sit up here and play. Like they're a number 3 team. Number 4, I would probably have to go Dallas. Just because they are 6-1. They are 6-1. And they're playing great football also, and as well they did win without Dak, which I was really impressed by that. Granted, it wasn't the prettiest game, but they still drug it out. And number 5, I gotta have the Baltimore Ravens because I feel like they are a slept-on team. Like Freddie said, nobody's really talking about them, so they're kind of flying under the radar, which I think is great for Lamar Jackson because it kind of gives him that extra little chip on his shoulder to be like, okay, we were the hot team for the last 2 years, and we were in everybody's conversation as far as it got to this point in the season. Right now, everybody's talking about the Rams, the Cardinals, the Packers, the Dallas Cowboys. Like nobody's really honing in on the Baltimore Ravens right now. So I think that they're a great sleeper team.
I'm not sold on the BaltimoreRavens though.
No. And honestly, and I'm not mad at that because honestly,
Now, Green Bay not being in top 5, that's tough. I can't.
But I mean, it's honestly, it's not even
top 5 after beating an undefeated team. That's a little.
That's just because they beat an undefeated team doesn't mean they have to be top 5.
That's what I'm saying.
Who did Green Bay actually play to be 7-1? Let's look at that schedule.
But that's 7.
Honestly,
we can't do that because you can only beat the teams that's on your schedule.
But honestly,
Green Bay had the weakest schedule in the NFL. They had the weakest schedule in the NFL.
But you can't discount wins at the end of the day.
You can't.
And they ain't going to Arizona and beating them on the road.
I just think Green Bay's an overrated football team. I love Devontae Adams. I love what they're doing over there, but their defense is their Achilles heel. That's why they would never win.
What's your top 5? I'm interested. What's your top 5?
My top 5? My first 3 is still the same. I still have the Rams at 1.
Where's your 4 and 5?
My 4 and 5? honestly, right now, it's kind of a toss up. It's kind of a
and that's what I was trying to explain, but I got
there's a lot of teams out there that have 2 losses, but Dallas is number 4. Dallas
you guys
is number
have a good
4.
night. You guys have a good night.
What was your
wait, like old boy just said, like the Cowboys for listen.
Hold on, I didn't know what your top 3 were. So can you tell us
Rams, Cardinals, Buccaneers.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Rams, Cardinals, Buccaneers, Cowboys. In the 5th, that's a toss-up too. I'm not putting Baltimore up there. I don't want to put Green Bay up there. But if we're going to talk, but I just don't know who that 5th team is. There's a lot of teams that got 2 losses in this league. My Raiders is one. My Raiders is one of them.
That's what I'm
saying. I'm not being biased. I'm not putting them in no top.
You are being biased. You are being biased. Spotlight, that was no objectivity what you just said just a minute ago. You just got on the Green Bay Packers for having a weak schedule, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Dallas Cowboys schedule? It's just as strong as the Green Bay Packers, but you don't have the Packers top 5. That's blasphemy right there.
I want to ask you something. Their defense is trash.
And the Cowboys defense not trash? They got one man making plays on that defense.
Don't do that.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Knock it off.
They're trash, bro.
The Dallas Cowboys defense just as good.
Carried away.
Freddie, can I ask you?
Their defense is garbage.
Right. And if we're going
week by week,
Spotlight,
you can run on the Green Bay Packers. You really can.
Right. But Spotlight, look at it like this. We're talking about, okay, well, Green Bay needs to be top 3 because of what they did, and they beat an undefeated team. But when Washington gave the Pittsburgh Steelers their first L last year after going 11-0, were they top 5? No.
What was their record, though, Mike, in the season?
But
we're talking about a team that beat an undefeated team that's 7-1.
And we talking about that same amount of team that Pittsburgh was last year and got bounced in the first round.
Were they 7-1, Mike?
But your argument is because they defeated
Freddie, I'm with you in terms of them not. You got to put Green Bay in the top 5. To me, not putting them in the top 5.
No, Mike, I'm saying Green Bay is 7-1 and did that. That's what I'm talking about.
It's a toss-up for me for number 5. It's a toss-up for me. It's a lot of teams out there that got 2 losses that's just as good as Green Bay.
It's a dog fight for 5.
It's not a dog fight.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I.
It is.
You got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and a bunch of other cats fighting for 5 right now. You telling me that's not a dog fight?
No, you have not have Green Bay not your top 5. No,
if we're talking Buffalo, Ravens, and Green Bay, is that the toss up between those 3? Is it those are the 3 teams we're talking about?
For me, yes.
Yeah, to me, it's Green Bay, no question.
Buffalo's a pretender. They're 0-2 against winning teams.
So we calling Green Bay contenders after losing 2 back-to-back NFC championships. We calling them contenders.
We're not seeing. We're talking about this season. We're talking about this season.
It doesn't matter. But we call Green Bay every year contenders, and they disappoint us every year. They have not won a championship.
Spotlight, you going out?
They have not won a championship in 10 freaking years. What are we talking about?
Spotlight, we're talking about this year. We're not talking about last year. This year. Stay on this year. We're talking about right now. They're 7-1.
Because of who?
They're 7-1.
They in a weak NFC North. Let's be honest. Detroit Lions, not good. The Bears, they're up and down. They bipolar as hell. What are we talking about? They have a weak division. So does the Cowboys. But the Cowboys are better than the Green Bay Packers now.
Well, at the same time, though, the NFC East is a weak division, too. So
I don't even call it the NFC East. They the NFC least. They the NFC
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
There's really...
You got to be consistent.
The only reason why I picked the Cowboys over Green Bay, because the Cowboys, even though they lost to Tampa Bay, they competed. Nobody
lost. It's not such as a moral loss.
Dallas winning that game.
What is a moral loss? What is that?
The world wrong.
So we celebrated moral victories?
They can go toe-to-toe with any team in this league. Come on now.
So we celebrated moral victories. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
You're right.
Instead of doing a top 5, why don't we just pick a pretender and move on?
Chris, give us your top 5, man. Because all
right. Well, don't go off on me. The Packers are in it, all right? But I got the Rams at 1.
Okay.
They're excellent. They're very well coached. They don't make stupid mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I have Green Bay, and it's just because they beat the Cardinals. It's just this week where they're at right now. Will they be number 2 next week? Probably not. It'll probably be Arizona again, but Arizona at 3.
Oh, now you're okay.
Green Bay play this week. Who Green Bay play this week?
That's because we're going by week. That's what we're going by. Mike and the Spotlight and Lena are judging off last year, the year before that, but we're going right now.
I'm just not a big fan of Green Bay. They're not a fun team to watch. They're just not.
It's not about the top 5 fun team to watch.
If Aaron Rodgers didn't have Devontae Adams or Aaron Jones, that team would be ass. Period.
Do you remember?
I do like AJ Dillon though. I do like AJ Dillon a lot.
Do you remember in the 90s watching?
But he's a backup. We don't see him enough.
That's hard. I like him.
Do you remember in the 90s watching any football game? It was kind of ugly at times unless you got a strange passing touchdown, but we won games. NFL teams, it's you can win ugly, and I'm going to give you a win all day.
That's true.
Yeah, no, you don't. Oh, Green Bay plays Kansas City next week.
Oh, and number 4.
Another, because the Giants about to beat them now, so that's not going to be a game.
Man.
Number 4, I would put Dallas. And number 5, I put Tampa Bay. And don't try to tell me there's any AFC team right now that deserves to be there, because the Bell Cows, the Ravens aren't looking that great. The Bills, like I said, they're 0-2 against winning teams. They are last year's Steelers. They're going to beat the teams by a ton that they should beat and lose the teams that they should beat.
I'm surprised nobody said the Bengals was like a fighting spot for number 5.
They're going to do that because how they lost to the Jets last week. This week. That's why they're doing that.
But after you throw up Lamar like that, it's definitely a conversation.
But then you turn around and the following week and lay a dud. So
yeah.
But that's every team in the league. Every team in the league does that.
Right. Even Rodgers got a dud this year.
Rodgers did it. Like, we're not gonna sit here and act like.
But this list is about. This list is about week to week.
It is week to week. But if we're going to go off that, I'm saying this is like, okay, yeah, it's just if you're going to go off that. So the Jets, yeah, they beat the Bengals. Yeah, of course. But y'all can say the same thing as the Tennessee Titans. They lost to the Jets too. So where do you put the Titans at?
It's all about like Green Bay. They got slaughtered by the Saints week 1. But after that, what have they been doing? Winning. So you can't have them at that low anymore. So now we're talking about we see Tampa. They did not look the last time we saw them, which was yesterday. They did not look good against a team that has started they had to have their third string quarterback come in there and try to win a game. They won the football game. They did. I mean, that's what you got to go about.
I completely understand that, but you don't. I mean, you don't go into. They went into a game thinking they would have Jameis Winston all 4 quarters. I mean.
I know what it is with you, Spotlight. I'm gonna tell everybody here reason why you were so much hating on the Green Bay Packers. Spotlight is a Raiders fan. He is hoping that Aaron Rodgers leave and head down there to Vegas. That's where the hate is coming from.
I don't want him in Vegas. You do too. My quarterback, and I'm sticking by it.
Okay, please. Please.
If you want to look up passing yards, who got more passing yards than Aaron Rodgers right now? Derek Carr. Let's do it.
Who got more wins? Derek Carr, Rodgers. Let's go.
5-2, baby. We 5-2 in the top of our division.
And he's 7-1. He's 7-1.
Don't bring up my Raiders because we play them Giants this week and we're gonna smack that ass. So let's talk.
Which you should. You should.
Giants.
You should beat us. We're sorry. You should.
I need to be scrubbing left life right now the way that shit look.
You should beat us. I mean, we trash. I mean, we done.
We're gonna spank y'all. We're not just gonna beat y'all. We're gonna spank y'all. We're gonna beat the bricks off y'all.
You should. They should. We shouldn't have a chance. I mean,
y'all don't have no chance.
Now, Freddie, how can you call yourself a Giants fan and you're just like, yeah, you gonna beat us. You gonna beat the Giants.
Bro, my team has been so inconsistent this year. The team been so
they've been consistently bad.
Exactly.
So for the last 10 years.
So wait a minute. No. You just was on Bring It, and you just told yo, oh, don't you be disrespectful to the Giants. Be respectful. You over here calling them dumpster juice? How they gonna get beat by the Raiders?
They're dumpster juice. I mean, the Raiders should beat us. I mean, let's be honest. The Chiefs should beat us, but I don't mean I'm picking them to beat us. I mean, they should.
The Chiefs is trash this year too.
We'll you know, we can't. Let's be honest. We can't judge the Chiefs right now. Yes, we can say what we say, but when it matters in the playoffs, we can't judge it.
They gotta make the playoffs.
Honestly, the Chiefs shouldn't not be up and just no 4 points against these Giants. Let's just be realistic here. Come on.
We can't judge this team. We can't judge the Buccaneers right now. Not until the playoffs. That's when it matters.
Ciao.
And to answer you, Anthony, I don't have the Titans up there for two reasons. They lost to the Jets. They lost to the Jets and they lost Derrick Henry. To me, the Titans are going to become a dumpster fire without Henry able to help.
Hey, let's talk about that.
Man, I don't know. Can I get my list first before we talk about that?
Well, Kenny hasn't got to go yet.
No, my bad. Go ahead, Kenny. My bad.
All right, I got the Rams #1. Okay. I got the Cowboys 2.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Absolutely. I got Green Bay 3, Arizona 4, and Buffalo 5.
Okay.
How do you? I just want you to explain to the people how you got the Cowboys #2. I'm just interested.
Because our defense is better than the Packers, and our offense is better. And what more you want me to say? What's left? Special teams.
That's fair.
There's no question. No question.
Kenny, I'm going to applaud you.
We have a better elite offense. The Cowboys do have a better elite offense than the Green Bay Packers.
And a better defense.
Kenny, I'm going to applaud you just for the reason that, you know, you didn't get stuck into last year. You didn't get stuck into the 2 years before, but you stayed in the moment of week by week and you did your list right. So I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give you that credit. Everybody else kind of got thrown off on the topic or something. I mean, I'm sorry.
I'm just curious. Nobody put my Jags in the top 5. Is there something going on?
Oh, man.
And Tony, that's why I don't question people when they say they're going to beat me. I'm a Jags fan. We're going to get beat. It don't matter.
That's true. Hey, y'all are top 5 for a top 5 pick. I'll give y'all that.
They are every year.
All right, let's move. Let's keep it moving. You know, we woke up to the news this morning to Derrick Henry that he, you know, it was a possibility of that you know, he'll be out for the season. I believe it was confirmed that he will have to have foot surgery. But what does this do for the Titans? Mike, we'll go with you on this one.
I think I should be the only one that goes. I think we're all in the same boat. I don't think we got to talk about this much longer. It's a wrap. 6 to 10 weeks, most likely not going to be, you know, 100% when he gets back. Got to remember, that's a big boy. That man's swole as shit. He's about 250 pounds of all muscle. So even when he does get back, he's going to have to nurture that. He's going to have to be careful because he is a heavy man. You see that with Zion and Zion's injuries. You know, I know it's a different sport, but when you're that heavy and you're trying to move at that rate and that force that you're putting into your body week in and week out, especially as a running back, you're trying to take those cuts. You're trying to maneuver differently. It's really difficult for the wide receiver and running back with foot injuries. But you definitely do have to say, like, this schedule is not easy for them. And do you really have to say this is the test? This is the test of, was the Julio Jones trade a legitimate move? Because if Julio Jones, who hasn't been healthy either, and neither is really AJ Jones, what the hell is his name? AJ
Brown.
Yeah. Smoking all types of stuff too. You know, it's definitely, they're done. They're done because you couldn't beat the Jets with Derrick Henry. You ain't gonna beat other teams without him. So that's the way I looked at it. And they need to really game plan for that. I can't even tell you who their running back is. Their backup.
All right, I think Mike touched on it. Unless you guys wanted to touch on it anymore.
I think the only thing is, you know, they just signed Adrian Peterson. If somehow he can find a fountain of youth and give them something, then maybe.
Right. He looked nice. He looked nice for the Lions for like a week, and then it was, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe that keeps him afloat. But other than that, they're in trouble.
So, do you think, you know, with the injury, do you think the Titans are a dark horse to maybe get Deshaun Watson here at the last second? That changes their game completely. Tannehill can't carry them though.
The Titans can't pick up that contract.
Right, and it's really rough.
They can send Julio.
Yeah, but if they send Tannehill, that that can open.
Right, but I think they would have to pay a lot of that money, and I think realistically, because they don't have a backup quarterback at all, and their run game is shot, I would give Cam Newton a call. Maybe you have some run option plays like you used to with Marcus Mariota. Maybe you can figure something out there with some wildcat offense. But there's no doubt in my mind you get Deshaun Watson. There's no chance.
But you do that.
My problem with Cam Newton is he's a distraction in the locker room. That's my only problem with Cam Newton. He's a distraction in the locker room.
Right, but spotlight.
He's just not a team guy. He's a selfish ass quarterback.
Right, now what distraction would you rather have though, Cam Newton or Deshaun Watson?
What distraction does Deshaun Watson have?
Honestly, I mean, even though the
22 of them, Freddie.
What distraction do he have?
22 of them.
Only the distraction with something that's off the field. But Cam Newton has distractions on the field. That's the difference.
Right. And he,
in New England, you didn't really see that as much of a distraction anymore.
Yeah, until Mac Jones got picked.
I mean, shit, I would be
until he got outplayed by Mac Jones.
Kenny said, "I just congratulated you. Don't make me take that back."
And plus, if you think about it too, Houston is in the same division as Tennessee. They're not going to trade him in Tennessee.
No.
That's right.
That would be like the Packers trading Aaron Rodgers to like the Vikings. Like it's not going to happen.
Miller getting traded to the Raiders.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep it moving. Just because we have spent. Hey, the show been good, man. To all our viewers out there, make sure you like our video, follow us on All Sports All Plays Network. Go to Spotlight Sports Network as well. Follow them on all their social media platforms over there. Elena, I'm gonna go with you on this one. Let's do the last NFL topic of the night. With the loss to the Steelers on Sunday, are the Cleveland Browns done?
Yes, they were done before the season started, honestly, but it's been solidified with this game. The Steelers are a terrible football team, and even though we showed a lot of love to Mike Tomlin, they're not a good football team this year. Ben Roethlisberger is a shell of himself at this point. He needs to probably go ahead and hang it up, but that's another topic for another day. But yeah, I mean, it's over with. Baker, I feel like, has lost the reins on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think that the receivers or the running backs or even the line, I don't think they trust them anymore. Because I mean, granted, him and Odell, they've never clicked, but him and Juice and Jarvis Landry, like, they had a pretty good relationship, pretty good connection as far as on the field, and it's even to the point where he's struggling to get him the ball now. So it's like there's this domino effect of that.
To be fair.
No, he did. He definitely did drop some passes. But at the same time, I mean, if we look at the course of the season, they haven't really been clicking all that great as well. So I just think at this point, the Browns are done. They're not who we thought they were going to be when they signed everybody, and we saw the potential what they could have been, but they haven't lived up to that. And I think it's time at this point to just break this team up. I don't know if they build around Baker or they need to, like, I don't know where they start, but they need to get rid of some pieces, and Odell needs to be the first one to go. Like, if he's not screaming to demand a trade, then so you just don't want to be great at this point because it's not working there. But like the Browns are done. Like they have a lot of decisions to make in this next offseason, and in my personal opinion, if they want to be a contender.
Spotlight before you go. Okay. Odell did post on his
yeah,
Instagram.
I've seen that. That's what I was about to get to.
Okay, you go ahead then. Go ahead then.
Is that real or fake? Real quick, is that real or fake?
No, it's real.
It was real. It was real because he deleted it. He deleted it.
Oh.
He posted maybe this shit with Baker and Cleveland won't work after all.
Yeah,
with the hand emoji.
He deleted it like an hour ago. So if you didn't screenshot it, you did not see it because he posted it on the story.
Because I saw it. I just didn't know if it was really him.
Yeah, it was real. It was real. But I mean, when it comes to Baker, I mean, I just feel like the Cleveland Browns forced him back into the lineup a bit too early after he tore his labrum. So with that being said, I really think it's more of an organization and a coach's issue because you just had surgery last week and you come back and you play.
No, he didn't have the surgery. He
I
just tried to
heard. I
rehab
thought
it.
he had the surgery.
he's
They
playing
were
with
talking
a
about him.
brace.
He's possibly having.
No, he just
surgery.
rehabbed. Yeah, he just rehabbed.
Yeah,
No, he
he
didn't
just
have
I
to.
playing
He
still
with
just
a
wish they
brace.
put
rehabbed.
him back.
Yeah.
Even though that's a shoulder injury and that's a labrum, I still would have had him play the following week.
Right.
I just wish. Listen, they was winning with Case Keenum. Shit, keep Case Keenum in there. I mean, that's just me. I think the Browns are done. When it comes to, I mean, Chubb is not 100% healthy. Kareem Hunt is on IR. You know, Odell is not being Odell. I mean, me and Freddie had this conversation earlier. But yeah, when it comes to that division, it honestly coming into this year, I had the Browns winning that division.
Right.
I did, but now it's just
did.
like I just don't know what the Cleveland Browns are doing when it comes to this injury with Baker Mayfield, because mind you, I don't know if it's his throwing shoulder or not, but still, you can't expect a guy to come back off of a torn labrum and think he can be successful a week later. Like, even if it's therapy or not, he still needs to rest that shoulder. Not throwing arm or throwing arm. The Browns are done. Period.
All right, Chris.
What was the question?
With the Browns losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, do you believe the Cleveland Browns are done?
I don't know that. They have a very tough schedule to finish.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Ravens twice in a row, which is kind of weird. They have Ravens by week Ravens, and they're going to lose both of those.
Back to back?
Yeah, back to back. But they
damn shit.
They have one of the worst quarterback situations out there. Baker doesn't seem to know his own offense. Nick Chubb has been hurt, and he's kind of, I don't know if he's going to be 100% for the rest of the year. So they have superstars they're paying millions of dollars to who have huge egos. And when things don't go right, those guys collapse. Odell's always done that. So I think they are done based on just that. I mean, they could pull this out. They're a half game out of the wild card. But, I mean, the teams that they're going to be going up against are the teams they have to play still. So I don't think it works.
Hey, Kenny, what you think, bro?
Yeah, I think they're done. I think you got to go ahead and shut Baker Mayfield down, and just take a look at Case Keenum. And honestly, you got to really start having a discussion as to whether or not you believe that Baker Mayfield is your quarterback. To me, he's in the same boat as Daniel Jones in terms of, the jury still being out on whether or not he's a franchise quarterback. Because, we already talked about the issues he's having with Odell Beckham. And the fact of the matter is that we know the skill level and the talent level of Odell Beckham, and the fact that you can't he can't be effective, and he hasn't been effective for this is now is this his third year in Cleveland or his second year?
It's like his fourth year.
I think it's third. I think it's third.
Whatever it is. But I mean, all of this time, like, he's really hasn't been himself since he's gotten to Cleveland, and that's coincided with him being with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, you were talking about Odell. I thought you were talking about Baker. I'm sorry.
No. I was talking about Odell.
Yeah, I think it's
so I just think it's time for them to really take a really hard look as to whether or not Baker Mayfield is going to be your quarterback. And the fact of the matter is that, with that type of injury, like, there's no protecting that. You can't protect.
Right.
As much as you put a brace on, you can't protect that. He's just one hit away from, you could potentially, with the torn labrum. That's an and I'm no doctor, but that's an involved surgery. That's a serious surgery. So I think you could potentially, hurt this guy, down the line in terms of him being effective going into next season if you continue to try to put him out there. So I just think they need to just go ahead and hand the reins over to Case Keenum. And you got to build up the value of OBJ, because right now, if you tried to trade this guy, you're getting 50 cents on a dollar. I'm not giving you not giving you no prime assets. I'm not giving you no prime draft picks for a guy that looks like a shell of himself and hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Right.
So
that's true too.
I think you just got to really.
That's right. The number one trade actually is Chicago. It's Allen Robinson being a shell of himself and Odell Beckham Jr. being a shell of himself. And the biggest rumors out there right now are just giving them both a change of scenery. And I don't think it works out for either of them, really. But it's going to be tough to get guys.
It's going to be more easier to trade Allen Robinson than it is to trade Odell Beckham because
I think so. I mean, hell, they both tore their ACLs. They're both like 30, so it's like at the end of the day, I mean, it's going to
the contract for Odell is not really that bad. It's 14 million.
It's not that bad, but like I said earlier in the morning show, the salary cap is really bad this year for the league.
Right, and Allen Robinson's a free agent at the end of the year, so there's no real.
Yeah, he's only franchise tag. So if you trade him, you're not really losing. You're not really spending money on Allen Robinson until next year.
Right.
My thing is on the Browns, they're done. And you know what? Hey,
started.
Mike Tomlin. That question they asked him in the press conference, I'm pretty sure that, it juiced up his team and juiced up everybody else. Said, okay, let's go out there. Let's fight for our coach and let's just prove him wrong. So, hey, it shouts out that, this dude this Cleveland on paper. You can say they have one of the best offensive in football. You can say they have one of the best defenses in football as well. They have one of the best offensive line in the NFL as well. And this team have yet to figure out how to make it work. And I'm just going to tell you a stat line on yesterday that just sounds so crazy to me. Odell Beckham Jr. was targeted one time yesterday. One time. He caught it for a 6-yard pass. That's it.
Crazy.
That's it.
Crazy.
You're talking about a dude.
Do we blame the coach for that, not game planning for Odell to be targeted more?
Yeah,
it comes with play calling as well.
Yes, the coach and the quarterback, because the coach and the quarterback should be in sync and should be on the same page to say we have this explosive talent. Because let's not sit. I mean, granted, Odell hasn't looked great, but let's not sit here and play like Odell is not a generational talent. It's just as far as what he could do on the field. Now, that's something that's, like I said, on the coach and on the quarterback, because you guys are supposed to be on the same page as far as offensively and setting schemes for this guy. So it's like, what do we all know that Odell can do best? Why are y'all not thriving on that? Because I mean, like, it's a real simple method that they're making so complicated. Odell doesn't really require a lot. Like, he hasn't even played with great quarterbacks in the majority of his career and has still been able to put up numbers. So it's just like, if you put him in positions to win or put him in positions to where he can maximize what he does well, we wouldn't be having this talk. But they haven't been able to do that in the 3 years that he's been there, barring injury as well. Like, granted, he's, he's been hurt, but even when he was fully healthy, they still haven't been able to make that thing work. So it's just like, it can't be all on Odell. Like, I understand, like, granted, he's injury prone, but that's not all on him as far as to why that situation
he can't get himself the ball. Like,
and I guarantee
he can't throw to himself. Yeah, he can't
right. But a lot of the injuries, I think that some of the injuries does come from him playing on the field. Because we see it a lot this year about tore ACLs, tore MCLs, and stuff of that nature.
The last injury he had was on Baker. If Baker doesn't throw that ball, he doesn't get injured.
Right.
It's not even that. If Baker doesn't tackle the guy, he doesn't tear it.
Yeah.
To me, if you give Odell,
if he's not put in a position, he doesn't have to do that. That's what I'm saying. If Baker doesn't throw, you know what I'm saying? Like, Baker put him in a position where he had to do that.
Right, but Baker as a man,
it's like,
he's not as athletic or as strong as he thinks he is. The problem with Baker is
that part,
not a free safety, a strong safety, just intercepted off you. You want to go out there and try to sack, dude? Bro, you got a stiff arm.
That part.
You look soft as hell right now, bro.
Right.
My point. I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna pass it on to Tony. My thing is, you put Odell Beckham Jr. in a situation where Patrick Mahomes throwing the football to him, or Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Watch this guy look like a number one receiver in the NFL.
He's gonna be successful. Again. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Tony.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Browns are done. I think their Browns are done for a couple reasons. I think the Browns are now finally starting to realize what it's like to be that second place, that third place team, and having to face those type of schedules. Because if you think about it, 2018 when Baker comes into the league, there's no expectations. They were 1-16, 1-15, the year before. Like, they're, as long as you win more than one game, that's your expectation right there. The next year he kind of comes into it. There's high expectations, but again, it's the Browns. They know it's going to be a long process. Last year, I mean, who did they really face last year? They faced the NFC East, garbage. Mm-hmm. You faced, the AFC North, which you had for the most part the Bengals without Joe Burrow, trash.
Joe Burrow.
I think they played I think they played a few teams in the AFC West, if I'm not mistaken, too. They played us last year, and we played them again this year. They played the Raiders back-to-back years.
I think you're right. Did they face the AFC South? They faced the AFC South last year. So I mean, really, you had two teams right there that were dumpsters. And then you had the rest of the AFC North. You had an aging Pittsburgh team that you beat back to back when it mattered the most at the end of the year and in the playoffs. So I mean, realistically, do I think the Browns are done? Yes, but like I've said before, to me, I don't think the Browns would be in a good position if they move off of Baker because, again, who do you have in your quarterback market? You have Case Keenum. What's Case Keenum going to get you?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Hey, you could go after Mitch. You could see
what?
about getting you a Mitch. I mean, all honesty, he'd probably be a little bit of an upgrade. He provided dynamic spark to that offense. And it would be interesting to see Kevin Stefanski with him. But, I mean, realistically, with Case Keenum, you're going to have about the same that you have with Baker right now. There's no big draft picks coming out of college next year that is like, oh, man, that's my quarterback of the future. Because we've seen every college quarterback just kind of just sputter this year out of every team, every division, everywhere. They've just sputtered. And there's no big-name free agents next year no big-name free agents next year that are going to want to come to Cleveland to play for a championship.
Right. And
so
no draft eligible quarterbers.
And that's the part too.
Yeah, because I mean,
that's part two. Nobody wants to come to Cleveland.
There's not no real top quality quarterbacks coming out of the draft this year, coming out of college.
Right.
So realistically,
the year and Sam Howell, I wouldn't. Being a Bears fan, I'm gonna tell you,
it's more defensive and running backs coming out.
Yeah, Sam Howell is not.
Yeah, so if it's
not
me,
that guy,
I stick with Baker purely for the fact of out of what you have, Baker is better than pretty much absolutely nothing, and we've seen Baker be able to have that success. It's Stefanski. Can he actually bring Baker back to where he was in the 2020 form with that kind of swagger that Baker had last year?
Right.
I agree.
Okay. Here's a very.
I think Baker can do that as long as they don't have expectations. Baker's not good with expectations. Like when he's expected to be that guy and be on that elite level, he hasn't performed well. I think he needs to get some of that star power kind of stripped from him, just kind of humble him a little bit because it's almost like he got it in his mind that it was a sure shot. Like,
I think the whole team, the whole team that can't handle the expectation. It's Baker Mayfield is involved, but it's the whole team, offense, defense, special teams. They never seen that type of. They never seen that type of star power. It was starstruck.
Yeah. For sure.
It's a very unrealistic trade, and it's not going to make sense. But what if you traded Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson? I'm just saying.
I mean,
he can get Odell the ball.
Yeah,
he could.
He ain't got to worry about getting the ball. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he has a better offensive line and a better defense.
Man,
do Deshaun Watson want to play in the cold?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he wants to go
probably
to the city.
No,
there's nothing attractive about Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then you also
I'm gonna say, who wants to go to Cleveland?
Right. And Texas's thing is we want good draft picks back, not mid to
Super Bowl
level expectations. So if you bring Deshaun
they want
the picks.
They want like 6 draft picks and then
they want a haul. They want to they want to get a Herschel Walker deal.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly what it's
like. Seriously.
They don't know he's even going to play. They don't even know that he's going to play again.
That too.
All right, everybody. Let's keep it moving. Let's move it to the NBA side. I think Chris about to hop off. Chris, want to thank you.
Nothing about basketball, man.
Want to thank you for hopping
Shout out,
on.
Chris.
Y'all, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
Let's start off with an NBA hot take. I'm gonna start it off because mine is it's not hot, but it's so hot that I'm loving it. A few years ago,
just don't be about the Lakers.
Well, I'm sorry.
You know it is.
A few years ago,
I'm going to sleep.
Good night. A few years ago, the NBA tried to force Melo out the league. They said Melo was done. He was sitting at home trying to look for a job, and he came back. that this year he's looking. Melo's looking good. He's going to be the sixth man of the year this year. He's having 16 points this year off the bench. He's shooting 50% from the field goal range. He's shooting 50% from three-point range as well. And he's been big on a lot of Lakers. Last couple of Lakers wins as well. He's made some big shots. He kind of carried us, in the fourth quarter in both games. So I have Carmelo Anthony being the sixth man of the year.
Early,
I'm not mad at that, Freddie.
I'm not mad at it, but you think it's a bit early?
That's my prediction so far.
Okay, so far you saying as of right now. Okay,
yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at, so far, it would probably be between him and Derrick Rose if we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Going, into if we were going to say going off of the first few games of the season, it's probably between those two. But I'm not mad at Melo. That's not a bad call.
No.
Everyone roll with it.
I have to agree with that. I mean, but D Rose is in that conversation.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh yeah,
D Rose is
for sure.
It's a weird situation with D Rose so far, though. When you look at the minutes that Tibbs is giving him now that Kemba's there, I think he's really trying to balance quickly Rose and Kemba as a unit. I don't know if D Rose is going to get enough opportunity, and it's sad to say. To be in that real conversation.
I'm a disagree.
I think he will later on in the year because Kemba Kemba cannot stay healthy.
Right.
But
what
I'm
saying is also D Rose, he has D Rose in the floor in the fourth quarters.
Right.
He's
been, and D Rose also
I watch all the games. So he's been.
D Rose also has a deeper playoff history than Kemba as well. So when it gets to kind of to those dog minutes in those games where it's decision making games, I think we're gonna see a different side, a different role for Derrick Rose. He's gonna really get his opportunity to shine because say what you will, like he was definitely in a position where he was leading teams deep into the playoffs. He just ran into the big three, obviously, but he knows what that atmosphere is like, and Kemba doesn't really have that experience.
Right.
So he's definitely gonna get those opportunities later in the season for sure.
But I think that's good for both of them. For both Kemba and Derrick
for sure
together because it keeps both of them from being keeps both of them fresh.
Yeah,
keeps both of them from having to play a lot of minutes. So come playoff time, they're both be relatively healthy,
fresh.
And their legs will be relatively fresher as opposed to playing 35 to 40 minutes a night. So I think it's a beneficial for the both of them.
Right. My problem only with that, Kenny, isn't either Kemba or Rose. It's quickly, and it's the fact that they don't want to give up on quickly. They want to give up. Look at the last 2 games.
They've been playing them together though. Yeah, they've been playing quickly together. They've been putting quickly at the two. Like I was watching tonight, and in the fourth quarter, they had a lineup on the floor of Derrick Rose, Quickly, Burks, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle. So they went totally small against Toronto. So I think they're going to try to use Quickly as a bit more because I think he's more of a two anyway.
Right.
So I think they're going to try to play him more at the two and then just keep that rotation of Kemba and Derrick Rose playing the one.
Yeah, I can see that. My problem, it's just I don't get why the last few games he's only played like 5 minutes in total. And I'm saying if that continues, I don't think he's in the rotation.
He's been struggling too. I think that's another reason why Quickly hasn't been playing as much because he's been struggling shooting the ball. So I think that's one of the reasons why he hasn't played as many minutes this year. Yeah,
Mike, give us a hot take.
Mike,
we know where this is going.
It's with my Bulls, but it's not the way y'all think about it. I think DeMar DeRozan wins most improved player. I definitely think DeMar tonight, getting guarded by Jason Tatum. This man drops 37. He's been amazing so far this year. He's looking great with Zach LaVine, which I know just kills Freddie. And because at the beginning it was, we don't know how they're going to play together. They're both dropping 26 plus a game. It's looking great. Lonzo, 3 threes in a row in the first quarter today. Looked great. But I think DeMar DeRozan is without a doubt, to me, the most improved player if the season ended today.
Kenny, give us a hot take.
Not bad, Mike.
The New York Knicks will be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Ooh, I would not put. I definitely agree with that. I agree.
The Knicks
I
will
do.
be a
I do
top four
too.
seed.
I do too.
I think that there's just been a total infusion. It's been an infusion of talent on this year's roster. Adding Kemba and Evan Fournier. Like a lot of people don't talk about.
Evan gave the Bulls buckets.
So he's really an underrated player, but he can really shoot the ball. And so I just think there's a lot more firepower on this Knicks team, and also deep too. Like they could go at least, they could go 9 or 10 deep, each and every night right now. Because if you think about it, you got Quickly, you got D Rose, you got Obi Toppin, you got Taj Gibson.
Right.
Who am I missing?
I'm not sold on Obi Toppin yet.
No, I like him. I think they're using him the right way in terms of being a slasher and being a lob guy. I think that's when he's at his best. And I just think that the Knicks have a really deep roster. They could at least go 9 deep. I'm probably forgetting somebody that could go 10 deep. Oh, Nerlens Noel, he hasn't even played yet, so they can easily go 10 deep every night. So I just think that there's a higher level of talent. We don't have to rely on Julius Randle as much. I think that RJ Barrett is taking a step forward, and he's starting to really come into his own this year.
He's killing it.
So I just think the Knicks is going to be a top 4 seed, and I'm really excited about the future.
I'll see you.
I'm not mad at that.
I'll see you.
Hey, Kenny.
I'm not mad at that.
Hey, Kenny, we know one team is not going to be top 4 in the East. That's the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, Atlanta, your turn. Go give us a hot take. I'm sorry.
That's rude. That's rude.
Shots fired.
Hey, but before she goes, if they get Dame, keep that same energy.
No, if they get Dame, it's a whole different dollar. It's a whole different situation.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole different story to get Dame.
That would definitely be interesting. I think my hot take is going to be the MVP race is going to come down to 2 guys, and those 2 guys for me are Ja Morant and Stephen Curry. I believe that from the way that Steph has been playing so far, I think, like I said, I don't know why, but from the preseason, honestly, Steph just has this fire in his eyes. Like he has this, like he just has a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. Like it's reminding me of like 2015 Steph, like where he was kind of slept on and he just came out of nowhere and just started murdering everybody. And like I don't know. The way that his swagger has been these past few games for the Warriors, like, and then the addition of Clay coming back, so that kind of relieves the pressure off him a little bit, and they kind of get into the swing of things. I just think that he's going to be putting up those big numbers again. And then also on the flip side of that, Ja Morant is a dog. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, and I called this before the season started. Ja Morant is a dog, and he has been proving it. He's gone against some of the best players in the league. He hasn't looked afraid. He hasn't looked timid. He doesn't shy away from the moment. He's risen to the occasion every single time. He's improved his game. He's improved his leadership. I mean, everything is clicking for him right now. It's all starting to make sense, and you could just see how you could tell by the way that he plays that he doesn't have that. There's no limits for him anymore. It's just like I know what kind of player I am. I know what kind of team we have, and I know what kind of leader I want to be. And this is what I'm presenting. This is presenting to the world. So I feel like the MVP race is going to come down to those 2 guys because they just. I mean, as of right now, like obviously it could change, but as of right now, those guys have been sticking out to my mind as far as the guys that are going to be competing for that award.
You definitely have to have. I believe, in my opinion, you definitely have to have Kevin Durant in that category as well. He's only averaging, for sure. He's only averaging less of 1 point than both of them guys, and so you definitely gotta put him in the category as well. So, Tony, give us a hot take.
All right, I got 2 hot takes a little bit. The first one, and when the playoffs start, your number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference is going to be the Chicago Bulls. They're going to be the number 1 seed.
Ooh, that's a hot take for you.
That's a hot take.
I say that because I mean, think about it. You look at the Nets. Like the Nets are dangerous this year, but they're missing Kyrie. It's obvious. Like we saw last year, defense is not the Nets' strong suit. Defense is never going to be the Nets' strong suit. So I mean, they without having that third body to be able to score, without being able to have that Kyrie, the Nets aren't going to be able to go as high as they could potentially go. the Bucs are going to take a little bit of a step back now because they have the championship winning formula. People are going to play their best when it comes to playing the champ. So I mean, the Bucs are going to have to regress a little bit. But I think out of the East, the top 4 teams is going to be the Bulls, the Heat, the Nets, and the Bucs. Not necessarily in that order, but those are going to be your 4 teams. And in the West, you at 1 exactly. Now in the West, your Golden State Warriors are going to be number 4 in the playoffs.
Ooh,
I can see that.
Yeah,
Golden State. I think
I'm not mad at that.
I think Golden State's gonna make quite a bit of a comeback. Like Alana said, Steph Curry got it going on. I mean, he's carrying the team. We saw it the last couple of years without Clay. He can carry the Golden State Warriors. They got a lot of talent on that team, and I mean they're going to prove a lot of people wrong. I think in the West, your top 4 teams is going to be. Now, Freddie, hear me out before you go criticize me because you already know what's going to come. I think the top 4 teams in the West is going to be the Jazz and the Nuggets because like regular season numbers, they're almost always a 1 and 2.
Jazz can take a step back, to be honest with you.
Bulls gave
not having Murray.
I think they already have. I think they already have.
I think not having Murray is going to hurt them.
I think they will, and to be honest with you, but that's why I still kind of put them up there because if you look at historically the last few years, the Nuggets and the Jazz are almost always like the 1 and 2 seed, but then when it comes to the playoffs, they just turn into a totally different team. Like they were the regular season kings. Like you can't regular season they're going to beat you all day, but then when it matters, it does. They flop. After that, I'm going to say the Lakers, and then after that, I'm going to say the Golden State Warriors.
I don't have a problem with that. You thought I was going to have a problem with that?
Yeah, I thought you did. I thought you were like, no, Lakers need to be number 1.
I'll be honestly, I got them about 4 or 5, honestly.
I would, and respectfully, Tony, I would replace the Nuggets because of the Jamal Murray thing with the Phoenix Suns, just because.
Okay.
I'm with you.
See that?
I
see that.
Yeah.
But if Jamal started the season, I could definitely see where you're coming from.
Okay.
Spotlight, give us a hot take.
Well, as of right now, it's not basketball related because the Giants just scored and took the lead over the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's one. Yeah, the Giants just scored. So yeah, so it's about to be 17-14.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's I don't know.
Damn,
I
Patty.
don't know what the football guys is doing in Kansas City this year. But look. He just talked about how bad his team was, and look at him. Listen,
my homeboy is out here getting humbled.
Oh yeah, they humbled them. But my hot take. We're better without Ben Simmons. Like, no, I don't even want to talk about Ben Simmons. I don't want to talk about Ben Simmons. I'm tired of talking about him. But even I'm staying in the Eastern Conference, and I think the Washington Wizards will finish 6th in the standings.
I like it.
I think the Washington Wizards, they're a very young team with Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal. They have a culture. The Washington Wizards have a culture, and I like how they're playing. And I like how their chemistry are early in the season. So I do like the Washington Wizards to finish as the 6th seed. They probably won't go. They probably go at least to the second round and then lose, but that is an accomplishment. That's what I would like. And if they could keep that going with those young players and keep able to keep Bradley Beal happy,
right?
You can definitely see the Wizards on a come up in the Eastern Conference.
Right. Now, here's the question though: does the Washington Wizards winning cancel out you listening to offers for Bradley Beal, or would you still be listening?
That's a great question.
No.
It really depends because it really depends what Bradley Beal wants. If they're winning and if it's consistently winning, it's not just 1 year and then they go bad. If they can consistently win every single season, then no. But if they go from being good this year and being trash the next couple of years, then yes.
Right.
But winning to what extent though? Yeah. Go ahead, Kenny. I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say, I think they have a core in terms of talent that they could build with because you got a Trez Harrell that's relatively young. You got a Kuzma that's relatively young. You got Dinwiddie that's relatively young. So that's that right there. That's your starting 4. Plus Rui Hachimura, he's a young guy. Like you got a really young core that you can build with.
Yeah.
So I think that it all. I see your point, but I think that he may see that this has got a, this is a roster that he could win with and actually build something with. So I think he might not, unless, of course, unless he gets traded to Philly or gets traded to, a team that's an automatic contender, that makes him an automatic contender, then maybe he does that. Maybe Boston. But I think they need somebody more in the front court than they do in the back court. But that's another subject. But I was saying that I said this. Me and Mike was talking about this before the season even started, and I said that Washington that was my dark horse team in the East, because if we're gonna be honest, and Freddie, I'm sure you're not gonna agree. You probably won't agree with me, but they won this. If you look at that trade, they won that trade. Like they got more talent, they got more usable pieces. That
I don't disagree.
Use. Oh, I'm sure you do. But I think they got more.
I don't disagree with you.
Oh, you don't disagree? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think they got more usable pieces and better fits for their team, and actually pieces that they can move forward with and win with.
They got dogs, man.
They went from being in a 5-year rebuild to potentially being in a 2-3-year rebuild.
Yeah.
But they got dogs that's hungry. You have a Kyle Kuzma who wants to prove himself. Because you hear all the slander, all the name that he can't bother. You have Montrezl Harrell, who's been in 2 situations now where the Clippers and he thought he going to the Lakers with a better situation.
LA got no love for that man.
Yeah, so now you leave him. And KCP, he had that hustler mindset where he played, dog defense. He can knock down the 3 in the corner. So, and then you bring in a Bradley Beal with those guys. So, they do have, you have a lot of young talent and a bunch of dogs with a dog mindset as well.
And everybody forgets my boy, Denny Avdija. I mean, going into the draft, that was baby Luka. People were comparing him to Luka. So if he could tap into that and what he was overseas, I mean, they're set.
I didn't forget about him. I'm bad on butchering names, man. That's why I never said his name.
That's why I just say Denny. I don't know if it's Avdija.
Just call him Danny.
All right, you guys. Let's move to the next topic, because I believe this topic could get a little hot.
It's the best topic.
Oh man,
it's the best topic.
A few years ago when Zion and John Morant was in the same, draft class, there was a lot of, questions. There were some questions. Should people take Ja over Zion?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's be honest. Since they both been in NBA, we really haven't seen much of Zion, on the court because of health issues, getting hurt, the surgery. But when we have seen him, he did look good. But we have seen Ja take this this Memphis Grizzlies team deep, in a season, take him to a play-in tournament, see him go head-to-head against Steph Curry. We have seen him, work in the offseason, because he did, in that play-in tournament, he did have issues with that three-point shot. But what did he do in the offseason? He worked on it, and what did he come this year? He's improved. Is it a possibility that the New Orleans Pelicans might have made a mistake by taking Zion instead of Ja Morant? And I'm gonna give it to Lena the first shot, because she came out and she said this year that Ja's gonna be a top 5 player coming into the season. She did say that. So I'm gonna give you the first shot at it, Lena.
I think it's a sure shot to say that the Pelicans definitely made a mistake and they should have taken Ja first instead of Zion. And here's why. Because even coming out of college, there was a lot of questions. There was more questions about Zion than it was Ja Morant. And Zion has always had he's always kind of, his weight as far as like it's always fluctuated. When you play that position that he plays and you play the way that he plays, you have to tone, you got to keep that in shape, because there's so much taxing on your body when you play that aggressive and you're that big naturally, and then you go into the off season and you get bigger, and now you have to there's just a lot of things that he's made it a lot harder for himself, I guess what I'm trying to say is, because you go into the offseason, you're overweight, so now you have to work to get back into good enough shape, and then get back to regular season shape, and then there's just so much with that. And I feel like Ja has really taken on the opportunity to say, okay, what are my weaknesses? What are things that I need to get better at? And he's taken that time, and you can tell from how he's playing so far that he's taking that time to say, okay, I need to be a better shooter. I need to be able to pick my spots a little bit better. I need to be, not force passes and be patient and kind of let the play unfold and then attack or then pass. Like he's done all of the proper things to get him to a point where everybody's looking at Ja different. We're still having the same questions about Zion that we had when he was coming out of college. Yeah. Like at this particular point, if we're comparing the two, you should be on that same par, and he's not. Now, that's not to say that Zion isn't a great talent or that he doesn't have the potential to be a great talent in the NBA. It's just what we're assessing right now. If I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, I would probably take Ja first over Zion, because even granted, you can build around Zion, yes, but Zion has to do the work on himself in order to make the New Orleans Pelicans capable to build around him, because You're not going to build around a guy that you don't believe in. And I feel like they're in their position right now. They don't really believe in him as far as down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like explosive wise, box office, all of those things, that's great. But can you do that consistently? And that's what Ja is showing right now, is that he doesn't just want to be the hot for the moment player. I want to be able to do this consistently. So if we're looking long term, yeah, I think they'll end up regretting it. That's my personal opinion.
All right, Kenny, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's one of those things where it's kind of, it depends on like what your perspective is or what your preference is, like, because with Ja, you have a consummate point guard. Like you got somebody that that can both facilitate and score. Like, so I think it's based off of what your team needs are. But I think, to be honest, if we're going to be fair, I think this is more so because Zion hasn't been able to stay healthy. Because when he's played, I just looked at the stats real quick. Like his rookie year, he averaged 22.5, and last year he averaged 27. So I just think it's because he hasn't been able to stay healthy that we haven't been able to see him, do the things that he's been projected to do. So I think it's more so that why, this would even be in question. If it's me though, I'm being honest, I'm a point guard guy. So, but and also let's be fair as well. There was questions about Ja Morant coming into the draft too, because we weren't sure.
Small school.
Exactly. Small school, the questions about the jump shot and things of that nature. But to Elena's point, that he's really worked on that J, and it's looking real, he's looking really good out there, and he's shooting the three ball really well so far this season. Yeah, that's a great point. So it's also the culture in New Orleans. It's been really unstable. So to be fair. So I just think that it's a combination of all of those things. So I just think it's more of it could be considered to be prisoner of the moment a little bit if we say we're taking Ja over Zion. But I can understand, because to me, Ja is a special talent. So I don't think you go wrong with either one. I think the issue with Zion is just health. When he's healthy, he's gonna produce. It's just a matter of him staying healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Spotlight.
I was not a big of a Zion fan coming out of college. And I'm gonna just keep it honest. He was nothing but a highlight reel. He was nothing but somebody that could get put on ESPN. And I knew his weight was going to be a problem. He didn't have a back to the basket type of offense. He don't have a jump shot. Not even a 12-footer. He don't even have that. I just think he thought that he could come in and think everybody thought that he was going to be the next LeBron James, or he's this man amongst boys, and he's the boy amongst men. It's definitely vice versa with Zion. I did not believe in the hype. I think he should never went number one, and the Pelicans believed in the hype. Now they're sitting them biting themselves to the ass because Ja Morant is even though Ja Morant was a highlight reel in college too, but you see that he was a better overall player than Zion, even though they played two certain positions. But Zion is just not a leader on a basketball court like Ja is.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, Yeah, the Pelicans is biting themselves in the ass for not getting John Morant. But it's a blessing in disguise as well, because John Morant went to a better basketball team. Even on top of that, the Pelicans was never that great. Even though they got Brandon Ingram over there right now, that's honestly playing better than Zion when Zion is on the court. So at the end of the day, I was never a Zion fan. I never will be until he improves. He has not improved since he's left Duke. He left college to go play in the NBA and to be like the rest of them. He doesn't stand out to anybody. He came back this year overweight. What are you doing, bro?
That's the biggest indictment on.
What are you doing, bro? Like they talking about, that's that New Orleans gumbo and stuff like that.
Hey,
yeah, but it's a lot of players out there that like gumbo in New Orleans and looks physically fit.
It's wonderful. I ain't gonna lie.
There was no excuse for Zion.
And that's the issue, is that, you know what I'm saying? Zion had potential to be like a Charles Barkley with like a hint more of athleticism.
Right,
and,
a lot more.
Well, yeah, I mean a lot more, or and a lot more speed as well. Because Charles wasn't all that, you know. I mean, he wasn't all that elusive, I guess you could say. But again, and even Charles Barkley alluded to it as well. He even spoke on it as well. It's like he's gonna have to get that in check now. Like this is before he even came out of college to come into the league, because if you don't, it's gonna get to a point where it's getting out of control. There's no reason for him to come back from the offseason weighing 300 pounds. Like there's no excuse for that.
My boy 320.
Yeah, like
that's crazy, dude.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know if it's like
and
a
it really questioned me.
Like, yeah,
he really questioned me when they was in the bubble and he left his team in the bubble. To understand it was a family thing, but he came back thinking that everything was going to be all right, and that he was out of shape when he came back.
Yeah.
Like, what are you actually doing? What is your work ethic at? That's what I question with Zion.
Right. But here's a question though. Do you think that he's trying to manipulate his way out of New Orleans?
That could be.
It wouldn't be the first time, wouldn't be the second time.
That could be, but I still challenge his work ethic no matter where he goes.
No, I understand. You can't be over 300 pounds at his size like that. That's just not wise. And that's just not. And the fact of the matter, you know, especially today, like, you know, you with all the money you got, you can hire a personal chef. That like, there's no excuse for you not to be eating properly and being able to make.
Yeah, like come on, man.
Yeah, it's no excuse. Like you got the best of, you know, you got the best of everything. You got access to, you know, the best facilities, the best, you know, the best chefs, the best nutrition, all of that stuff. Like there's no excuse. So that's why I just think maybe it's something where he's trying to because there has been some rumors that he wants out of New Orleans. So maybe this is his way of trying to force his way out of town.
It could most definitely be that, because I mean, and somebody in the comments alluded to that, like that he's had 3 different head coaches. That organization is not really, it has not been.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. I'm not gonna, you know, give him a cop out for that, but I mean, I would.
Yeah, that doesn't excuse there
because he probably does. I mean, look, he's had a plethora of different point guards, different coaches.
Yeah, they've been shuffling guys in and out. Yeah, no.
Never had a
turnstile.
Yep.
All right, Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'll be honest. I kind of agree with like what Spotlight said. I think that New Orleans not only bought into a lot of the hype, but I think New Orleans was banking on the fact that because there was so much media attention around Zion, they were hoping that would translate over to if he comes to New Orleans. Like you think about it. They lost AD and they lost Boogie Cousins. They're like, oh crap, that's 2 more big stars that have wanted out of New Orleans. What do we do to try to prove that we are a basketball team that people want to come to? We need to have a young star that has national media attention, that was nationally known in college. We need Zion Williamson to come here and just be the big man, be the star. And don't get me wrong, like y'all said, his rookie year and when he's healthy and when he's not, looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the dude is going great. Like, but
good one, Tony. Good one.
Thank you. But I mean, Yeah, you can't come into the season, being that overweight, blame it on other stuff. But I do agree. And we haven't really heard Zion openly say that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans anymore. It's mainly been his family that's been more vocal for him.
Mm-hmm.
But to that same credit, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yep.
Who is he probably telling that he wants to be out of New Orleans the most instead of the media? He's going to tell his family. And again, can you really blame him for doing that? No, because again, New Orleans has been known. The same owners that own the New Orleans Saints own the Pelicans. The Saints are more their focus because that has been their money.
Mm-hmm.
As much as they may or may not want to admit it, New Orleans is a football town, both professionally and college. So really, the Pelicans have just kind of been the redheaded stepchild of the sports franchises there for New Orleans. Right. So I mean, really, I think Zion is trying to do it in, I guess, one of the most non-aggressive, just kind of dumb ways possible. I'm just going to try to overeat myself out of playing in New Orleans. Now, I say dumb because when you do that, yes, there are still going to be NBA teams that take a shot on you, that take a chance. But if you blow it, or if you end up in a situation maybe again that you don't want to be in, then you're killing your own NBA career.
Right.
When obviously it's shown that you have extreme potential. But you got to be really sure that that's the approach that you want to take, because New Orleans is either going to trade you for a ton for whatever they can get, and you may or may not have a say, or you got to try to wait it out so you can become a free agent and you can pick where you want to go.
Right. And before I go, first I want to pull up this comment because I like it. It's not something I'm going to take your head off for. It's something you need to address, though. The thing with Zion absolutely. And Shaq and why it's different to me, number one, is not only the position. But you look at it from a height standpoint. Now, if you look at Shaq's weight, not currently, but during the game, he was 324. He was 324, 7'1". Zion Williamson is 4 pounds less than him, and he's 6'6". That's where the problem is. Mm-hmm. You're not as big as Shaq. Your body frame isn't built to be that. And Shaq's not trying to jump out of the room because he does have a few inches on you. So it's different than Shaq. So Zion's body isn't built for that. It's not built to be as explosive and as big. And before I go, I got a little story time because this is, for me, I was always a jog guy. He reminds me of Derrick. He was in college at a small school, just like Derrick was in in Memphis. And it's definitely a situation where I see them having a lot of similarities. Here's my little story time, though. 2019, it's close to March Madness. I think it was like mid-February. I get into an accident. I'm in the hospital. I'm on morphine. I'm high as a kite. I'm chilling. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna watch some basketball. It's Duke versus Carolina. I'm high. I'm gone. Like the morphine levels were off the roof. I had a whole button. They gave me a button. It said, click it when you want more. You know me. I'm 18. Hell yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game. Zion grabs the ball and I see this man's shoe explode. I'm high as a kite. So I go, like, it took me a couple days. I was like, how high? I was like, how high am I right now? Bro, that man's shoe did not just explode. Like, I'm tripping. And then I wake up in the morning, I'm watching ESPN, and they're like, that shoe exploded. And I was like, damn, like, that shit really happened. And that was the moment for me where I said, this kid's going to be a problem. Because that was a Nike shoe. I don't care if you want to say it was
Kyrie too.
Yeah, right. They're one of the most comfortable shoes too. You can do anything in Kyrie's. That's the only brand of shoe I'll wear is Kyrie's if I'm hooping, and that's just point blank. Period. Sometimes I walk outside in them. Don't tell nobody. But only supposed to wear them on the court. But it's definitely something though. I took that and I said, damn, like this is gonna be tough. And this kid's weight, if it increases, is just going to bring on more issues like that. Now, I understand the shoe thing was a freak of nature, and the story was just more for laughs, but it definitely was something I took seriously even after. I said, this kid is jumping out of his sneakers literally, and I think a big part of that is because big men like that aren't supposed to move. The greatest thing to me, I think Tony froze, but the greatest thing to me right now is that simple fact that you look at John Morant and he reminds me so much of Derrick. He reminds me so much of Derrick Rose to that sense of what he can bring. And even better because you look at his three-point shot, and his three-point shot in this era is even better than what Derrick's was back then. I love everything I see from Ja.
Especially that early in his career.
Right, right. And I love that. And you win the Rookie of the Year and you win all this other accolades and you're bringing Memphis back on the map, which hasn't been happening in so long. The New Orleans question, however, you have to look at it from that perspective. Now, Lonzo's not on the team yet. Ingram's not on the team yet. You still have Anthony Davis and True Holiday, and I believe they had JJ Redick. So at the time, I definitely do think that Ja would bring more to that offense than Zion would have if those guys stayed. Now, if you're looking at it as Lonzo, Ja, and Ingram, and who else? Steven Adams. I don't really think that works. I don't like that. But, I mean, if you're looking at it as AD versus and Zion, or would you rather have Ja and AD and True Holiday? I like that a lot more. But, yeah, I definitely would take Ja over Zion. I'm a big point guard guy just like Kenny, but I think Spotlight hit it on the head. You know, he's talking about what have you really seen from Zion? I'm a Zion guy. I'm a fan of Zion. But the problem is I'm a fan of you because you're a highlight reel and nothing more. I see nothing, no development being made. I see nothing changing, and the work ethic definitely was something I didn't really take into consideration to really question. But after that, Spotlight gave me a great idea to question his work ethic because I forgot all about the bubble. I forgot all about that stuff. You know, they weren't really a playoff team, so you forget about the whole play-in and the bubble in the first place. But that definitely did happen, and I haven't seen his game change whatsoever, whereas Ja – my real only concern is just the Bulls fan in me and just understanding that, you know, he is like Derrick Rose and he does need to be careful with how he lands because it definitely could be detrimental to his career if, God forbid, something like that happens. But with Zion, it's already happening. Like, so it was happening before. It was happening.
Ankle injury, then he had foot surgery.
All those lower extremity injuries are byproduct of weight.
Right, and Ja's injuries are a what if. Zion's injuries are real and they're currently happening. So that's why to me it's Ja without a question.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, Evan and Elena, it's been another great episode here on Real Talk. This is the All Sports All Plays Network. Make sure you guys tune into us in the morning, ASAP in the morning. You're going to see Elena. You're going to see a lot more from the network. It's going to be hot. Hey, we're doing great things here at the ASAP Network. Make sure you follow us, tune into our page. You have a chance to win your very own T-shirt. Hey, it's been a great episode, you guys. You guys have anything else you'd like to say?
Real quick. Me and Mike about to tap in, so when we put our episode out, make sure y'all check that thing out.
Yes, sir.
Other than that,
go Bulls, 6-1, baby.
Until next time, we're out.
All righty.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the diamond in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. Offensive